Welcome to our session today, Financially Navigating Uncertain Times. In this session, we're going to cover strategies for determining your path forward and provide you with valuable insights on preparing your finances and planning for your future so that you can thrive even in times of uncertainty. No matter where we are in life, making smart choices is key to being financially successful. And at Summit Credit Union, we really prioritize the right tools, knowledge, and resources for our members and the general public. Our number one priority is to make sure that our members get the service and education they really deserve. And you participating in this session today is really helping you get those tips, tools, and advice. We want to be able to help you explore options, figure out how to save more money, and help you plan for retirement. We believe that financial success happens together. So thank you for being on our session today. The three things that we wanted to cover today are transitioning in your career if you've had that uncertainty happen to you, income transition, and a little bit about retirement planning. There are three things that we've found at Summit Credit Union that are really important for your transition strategies. The first one is to be able to budget. The second is to really understand and manage the debt that you have. And the third is to really make wise spending choices. When you have a change or experience an uncertain time, it's really important to have a plan. The first step that you want to take is to identify all of your income sources. The second step is to figure out who gets paid and when they get paid. We actually recommend you creating a calendar so that you can visually see when bills are due and when you might have income coming in. This can help you plan for future expenses for the month. Step number 3 that we recommend is determining what bills you might have flexibility on. Could you reduce bills by changing services? Could you perhaps eliminate services for a short period of time? What are your due dates? And when are the dates that you could potentially negotiate with those companies, perhaps even changing when your bill is due? Step number 4 is looking for opportunities where you can cut back. Maybe you can reduce expenses by 25% or 50% by simply changing the way you shop or delaying purchases. These transition strategies are really going to help you when it comes to uncertain times. One of the best things that we talk about at Summit Credit Union is creating a budget. Budgeting is really a skill that you can develop over time, but most importantly, it helps you create a plan on how to spend your money in the future. Did you know that only 1/3 of Americans have a household budget? Think about that 1/3 measuring cup in your kitchen. Think about how small that is compared to a full-size cup. That's how many people actually budget in America. We'd like to change that statistic. And one of the things that we do is we do that by using our budget worksheet. What's unique about Summit's budget worksheet is that it has a now column with where you are today, and it has a future column that you can play with the numbers and move money around. It really gives you the opportunity to be able to figure out how you can make changes and what that does to the amount of money that you may have left over at the end of the month. Or if you're experiencing a shortfall, how you can get back to having a little bit of a cushion with all of the bills and all of your spending. So what we recommend is really using this budget worksheet as a way for you to strategize and understand where your money is going. How we think about this is in 3 ways. It's knowing about your expenses. So oftentimes we have fixed expenses, things like our savings or retirement that comes out of our paycheck, our home, which might be those the rent that you pay or your home mortgage and the things that go into that, your vehicle loans, the insurance, and when you pay that insurance, do you pay it on a monthly basis? Do you pay it every 6 months? Do you pay it yearly? Any prescriptions that you might have for healthcare needs, and any copays that you potentially might need to think about if something medical happens. There's always those variable expenses. Where we live, it's often really hot and it's often really cold. So we have the air conditioning on or we have the furnace on. So that's going to vary depending on the time of year. So your electric bill, your heat bill, even your water bill when we're watering plants in the spring. And then, of course, co-insurance might also be available, or excuse me, variable, depending on the amount of the bill that you have for your healthcare needs. Now, I do have over here in discretionary spending things like groceries and household supplies, but of course, you need food and toilet paper and clothing and all of those types of things. But you have the option to choose how much you spend in each one of these categories. We do recommend when you have uncertain times to cut back on things that you might be spending money on, to forgo spending over periods of time, to be really creative with where you shop, and to also be thinking about what you can use at home in place of something that you would normally buy in the future. Or can you borrow something that a friend has for a short period of time? One of the things when it comes to spending is really thinking about finding savings in those fixed expenses. Can you reduce loans by potentially refinancing them from high interest rate credit cards into a lower interest rate personal loan? Could you reduce spending in flexible expenses, which I just talked about? Can you set new household expectations with the family members that you have for over a period of time? You're not going to go out and spend money on entertainment, but you're going to find free things that you can do in the community. And can you find new ways to save on purchases? I know couponing is kind of not something that people do anymore, but you can still find ways to save, shopping at different retail stores versus those high-end stores to maybe do some thrifting. You'd be really surprised on what you can find in those types of places. Now, I talked a little bit about that second thing that we talk about in terms of looking at when you have an uncertain time when it comes to your finances. Did you know that 80% of Americans carry debt and 43% have not checked their credit report recently? We do recommend that you go to annualcreditreport.com and check out your credit report. What you want to be looking for is any fraud that you might have or see on the report and then dispute that. You're also going to want to see if you have any collections or things that might be in your um, missed payment categories. If you do have collections, whether it be medical or something else, just a bill that you missed, it's important to pay those off so that you have the best credit score possible next time that you need a loan. It's really important to think about your credit report and what is on it, as well as what your credit score says about you, so that you can be able to make the best lending choices and have the best opportunities for you. Now, one of the things that we do talk about when it comes to debt management is the snowball method. It's being able to understand where all your bills are, what is the lowest balance, and being able to pay off that lowest balance first. Now, we do have financial coaches available to help you figure out what the best way is to be able to reduce your debt, even in uncertain times. So it's important to think about and also understand that when you have an uncertain time, building that savings account is going to be really important for you, or you're going to be stuck in a cycle of debt where every time something comes up, you have to put it on a credit or take out a loan. We want to break that cycle, and that all comes in with the future planning that you have. And so we do recommend, and we have at Summit, one-on-one complimentary coaching for when you are in an uncertain time. It can be full of emotions, it can be full of stress and anxiety, and sometimes you just need a little bit of help. Try to figure a way through so that you can thrive later on. We also recommend making sure that you're still looking at your retirement planning to be able to save early and often to be able to protect yourself in the future. We do have Summit financial advisors on staff that offer complimentary sessions to be able to talk with you about what you can do, especially in uncertain times. Now, I know I've been talking about uncertain times when it comes to maybe losing your job or having a setback or, changing jobs and taking a less profitable job. But we also want to understand too that sometimes there's uncertain times in the investing markets. And so it is important that when you feel stress or anxiety about those things that you do meet with Summit Financial Advisors to talk through your financial planning. Now, we do have a ton of additional resources at Summit Credit Union. We have those on our website. They are searchable. We have checklists, we have worksheets, and that budget worksheet is available on our website. All you have to do is just go into the search menu and type budget worksheet, and it will pop up for you. One of the things that I enjoy talking about at the credit union is how we can be so helpful for you and really reduce the stress and anxiety that you have when it comes to managing your finances in uncertain times. So, no matter where you are, if you just lost your job, you can't make payments because you're making less on unemployment, if you had a medical setback and you have a huge bill that you're trying to figure out how to pay, we can help you navigate those things. Don't feel like you are in this alone. So I wanted to say thank you so much for your time today. Just a quick little recap is that we now make sure that the three things that you take away from this session today is budgeting, debt management, and being able to still kind of plan for your future, even if it is a short-term change that maybe will help you in the long term. So we want to say thank you so much and be well.